Today on Busted Stocks, we are talking about Patriot Coal. This company filed for bankruptcy back in July. They don't want to pay $1.6 billion in healthcare costs for some of their employees. Now, if you recall, the company was spun off out of Peabody Energy. So you know how we had good bank, bad bank? Well, here we've got good coal company and bad coal company. So Rick Szambel is going to give us the latest. Now, the company is at a point where they're trying to get out of these healthcare costs, but they're getting fought, and not just by the employees.
No, what's happened here is that all these legacy costs for Patriot was really most of it, as I would say 90% of the retiree costs that they're having right now were people that never even worked for Patriot. They really either worked for Peabody Coal, or which they were spun off from 2007, or a company called Arch Coal, who they acquired in 2008, I believe. So just recently, the Peabody, Peabody has also said that they do not have anything to do with this and that everything was done fair, et cetera, and they're contesting any type of investigation that goes into it. But last month, Patriot actually had to go to a judge in the Eastern District of Missouri and ask to cancel $1.6 billion in future retiree benefits for health care. So in the last few weeks, what we've seen Patriot go back and offer the United Mine Workers a 35% stake in the new company, meaning they're going to get 35% of the new stock in Patriot. And what they'll do is they'll continue to pay their health benefits going through to January 1st of 2014, which would allow them to start selling off the stock and creating their own revenues, pay their own health care. This is happening in a lot of bankruptcies where we have a lot of legacy costs, where instead of continuing the legacy costs, they're letting the union manage their own costs going forward. All right, it's very difficult if you have 4,000 employees and you're paying for, let's say, retirees for 15,000 employees.
Right. So with Patriot, they want to get this extension so that they can keep going through this bankruptcy, but they're being fought because the other parties interested really want them to open up for maybe proposals, maybe someone to come buy them out, that kind of thing. So they have a court date coming up on April 23rd, right?
Yes. Next week on April 23rd, they will, among other things that's happening in the court. All right. But a key part of it's going to be is if Patriot can continue past their May 5th deadline. Now, there's a couple of parties that would rather see other parties being able to allow to come in and create a plan, either creditors, note holders, et cetera, possibly seek another outside buyer, which Patriot might not be really doing right now. They're not looking for another outside buyer to come in and run the company. So, this is, I think on the 23rd, we're going to get a better appreciation of what's happening. Also, we're going to see where the unions stand as far as, cutting benefits, et cetera, cutting wages going forward. We are still in the early stages of this, but it's becoming very interesting. And what's sad about all of this is that you're seeing a lot of people that are affected by this. Again, it never had anything to do with Patriot Coal. So, we've just had, we had protests down, in the headquarters of both companies, et cetera.
It's a really dangerous job. I mean, these people are going down in the earth. The air is terrible. They come out of this job sick. There's just no way to come out of it well. And, ultimately, that's their biggest cost is taking care of these workers.
This is considered one of the most dangerous jobs. And a lot of these workers are affected by black lung. And, these medical medications can cost between $10,000 and $13,000 a month for some of these people to be treated. And, after spending 35 years in a mine, there are effects by this. I mean, this is,
and demand is down for coal because electric companies are starting to switch to nat gas. It's cleaner.
Oh, absolutely.
The only people that are really demanding coal right now are the Chinese, but American demand for coal has come down.
Oh, it's come way down since 2008. I mean, we're at 46% for electrical power, for electrical generating. Now we're about 37%. I believe coal was going for back then, in, let's say 2008, it was roughly about $160 a ton. Right now, probably, let's say in the 50s. Their profits are way down. They haven't made money since at least 2010. They're in dire straits. They do need to make a lot of cuts, or they're not going to survive. I mean, the alternative is liquidation. Then that's what they've been saying.
We saw that with Hostess Brands.
Exactly. We saw that with Hostess Brands. They could not come up with agreements, and they literally had to shut down, which would affect really. And when in most of these mining towns, you're not just talking about the workers who work for the company. You're also talking about the other people who work in the community that you're actually shutting down.
Okay, well, the bonds are still trading for Patriot Coal, and the stock is still trading, but it has come down from 9 cents down to 8 cents. So we're going to keep our eye on Patriot Coal, and hopefully they will start to get some kind of deal worked out. That's Rick Szambel from Albert Fried, and I'm Debra Borchardt with TheStreet.